Ladies and gentlemen, I present you your Arabian Horse Association President, Nancy Harvey, for the State of the Association Address. Nancy?
Good morning. No. Much better. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Good morning, fellow officers, delegates, guests, and staff. Yeah. Welcome to the 2019 convention. It looks to be a wonderful convention, hopefully no fires in our future, and I hope you will get involved to continue to move us forward in a positive direction. I would first like to again thank the Tulsa Hyatt Regency for their handling of the emergency of 2018. This is my third speech as your president, and again, I am honored to be able to serve you in this capacity. First, and I am truly happy to report this to all of you, that the lawsuit with the Purebred Arabian Trust is over. Both groups are in the process of completing the PARS, Purebred Arabian Registration System, with the development of documentation and a plan should the need arise for the trust to utilize the system to register purebred horses. Representatives from the Trust and the Arabian Horse Association met at the U.S. National Show, and I believe that we are on an improved trajectory, and I knew it was going to do that. Hang on. I was going to warn people not to move, but, I think it's too heavy. Oh, they're fixing it. Oh, we are on pause for a moment. Do you want me to tell you any cat stories? Because I have them. Yeah, no. Yes, they are. And they're in, never mind. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to precurse this speech. Is it working? What? What? I have to go back now, once they're done. I just think it's interesting that the next word I used was trajectory. And I'm not kidding. So, and I believe we are on an improved trajectory to work together to promote the Arabian horse. We can officially say it is time to move onward and upward. 2019 has been a very busy year again for our Arabian Horse Association, our officers, our board of directors, our many volunteers, and our treasured staff. In 2019, we changed the way that we reviewed the staff reports at the board meeting. We put them online prior to the board meeting so that the board could review them and ask more in-depth questions at the board meeting. This has proven very successful, with the next step to be have the reports available to the general membership for their viewing. It's allowed us to shorten the board meeting and to focus the board less on just reports and more on in-depth and focus on the bigger picture items. National events entries as a whole should finish at or above, just above budget. Each show has its individual personality and its challenges and successes. If you'd like to know more about each show, I would recommend that you go to the Open Show Commission meetings at this convention. The theme for 2019 seems to be feedback and response. We have been working on getting feedback from our customers, members, exhibitors, and sister organizations. We have used that feedback to help move this association forward in a positive and responsive way and to expand our portion of the equestrian customer base. As part of the theme of feedback and response, we had the arrival and continuation of quite a few ad hoc committees. In fact, some people think I've become both the ad hoc and conference call queen. But seriously, I would like to thank the volunteers who have worked diligently, logically, and looked at the issues to which they were assigned in a progressive and non-emotional way. The committees had very strong and spirited discussions and did not always agree, but they did work together to make improvements. I am humbled, truly humbled by their commitment, the hard work, and what they have accomplished in 2019. The first of these was a task force that determined the viability of discontinuing our relationship with USEF. The task force determined that this was a relationship that should continue, but that we need to constantly pursue our position within USEF, and how important it is for the two associations to work together. To that end, one ancillary result of this task force is and its visibility. It was a terribly visible and terribly high-profile task force. But one of the ancillary results is the creation of an affiliates working group that is made up of all the breeds and affiliates within USEF. This group has and will continue to play a very important role in the continuing relationships with USEF. Next on my list is the Regional Restructure Ad Hoc Committee. This group has been working on the difficult job of determining if and how we change and adapt our regional show structure in this new and changing environment of the 21st century. They have a resolution submitted for this year's convention and will have an open forum on Saturday. The National Show Commission Review Ad Hoc Task Force was tasked with the comparison of our national shows commissions to other large and/or national shows, and to make recommendations to improve our infrastructure that will allow the shows to be more efficient and which will make them better for our exhibitors, vendors, volunteers, staff, and our customers. Their recommendations have been approved by the Board of Directors and will be implemented during 2020. One of the smaller but very active groups has been the AHA Handbook Redesign Group. They have already made changes to the handbook to make it both a rule book that is understandable and something that's easy to follow for those that are new to our association. I'm looking forward to the improvement that this group will make. Now, I have to do technology, and I'm pretty good at technology, but we'll see. It worked. Yeah. A task force that I would specifically like to highlight today is the Local Level Involvement Task Force. If you remember back this time last year, before the fires, I announced that at this body, a formation of a task force to work at the local level to change the way we look at our goals. We need to start thinking more about getting people riding Arabians. We have a great product, and if we get people riding or even experience our Arabians, the rest will come. This task force, as all were, was very busy. In just the first 4 months of 2019, they were able to get the largest breed group into the American Horse Council's Time to Ride pilot program. The pilot program has been developed by the American Horse Council and is designed to help foster and develop the next generation of horsemen and women. In 2019, the program has been in the pilot stage, and since we have the largest group participating, we have had one of the biggest voices within that group on what is important to the success and how we can move that program forward. The American Horse Council plans to move this from a pilot program to an active program in 2020. So the Local Level Involvement Task Force finished that project at like May. They're a little fast. So they decided that they needed something else to do. So they came up with this absolutely amazing idea of having a Meet an Arabian Day. The time frame for this was short, and there was much to do. And I told them, I may cry because I told them I'd cry if we went over 15. But anyway, there were actually less than 90 days from the idea to the finish of this project. The hope was that there would be 10, maybe 15 Barnes clubs or groups that would participate and host an event. Okay, brace yourselves. You ready? There were a total of 40 events held throughout the country beginning of September, with the last event being held, I believe, day before yesterday. They ranged from events at shows, at tractor supply stores, at private barns, and even universities. Part of the concept was to push the responsibility for the event planning and the promotion to the local level as they know their audience. One size doesn't always fit all. The help that AHA provided has been in the form of supporting marketing materials, promotional handouts, templates for the local folks to use. In addition, hosts were invited to be on conference calls to share ideas. They were offered financial support if needed and requested. The major magazines were contacted to ship magazines to the events, and all of the promotional and handout materials from AHA were shipped at no cost to the event organizers. The hosts were then surveyed after the event to determine what worked and what didn't, and how to improve the support for hosting these events. The task force has determined that in 2020 there will be 2 event dates, one in May and another again in September. There is so much more to learn about these events, and the task force has scheduled an open forum on Friday afternoon to help all of you learn how to host one of these amazing events. The group will next be moving to get these folks attending the meeting on Arabian Day to the next step of lessons and participation at the local events. I would like to thank the MDP for their financial support for this event. A total of $10,000 was budgeted, $5,000 from the Arabian Horse Association and $5,000 from the Purebred Arabian Trust. To date, our calculations show that a total of $5,000 was spent on the events. So I'm going to leave you with one last number. We believe we reached about 5,000 new people. That's $1 per person. As part of the development of feedback in June, teams of staff members led by our MDP chair, Becky Nash, performed the first of its kind for AHA, interviews of current members, exhibitors, breeders, and even some non or past members. Cross-departmental teams worked together to submit feedback that they gleaned from these interviews. This information, along with input from our executive committee and staff, has formed the basis for our 2019-20 strategic plan. The executive committee has been working on the strategic plan and have completed the pillars of the plan, including the following guiding principles. The guiding principles for the strategic plan are: cultivate growth within a changing environment, reconnect and grow membership by building an affinity and trust in AHA, foster teamwork between all organizations supporting the Arabian horse. The strategic objectives are, did it work? The development of a comprehensive marketing plan, efficient management to drive business productivity, fiscal responsibility, streamline of business of AHA, organizational of regional, local, and national events with a logical progression, breeding and registration expansion. These are pillars of the plan, but are not in a specific order of importance. The next steps are for the executive committee to develop steps to complete these objectives and timelines for completion. As they say, more to come. As you all know, Glenn Petty will be retiring in 2020. We have appreciated his dedication to the Arabian horse and to the Arabian Horse Association, and he will be a hard act to follow, but we must move on and find a new executive vice president. I have put together a search committee, and we will be posting the job description on various job sites on November 15th, with the intention of finding a suitable candidate prior to the start of our new fiscal year. Finally, I know you're saying it's about time, but finally, in July, the Middle East Broadcasting Networks joined the Arabian Horse Association in Oklahoma City to film footage for a documentary about the Arabian horse in the U.S. The Middle East Broadcasting is part of a program developed during the Bush administration to show Americans in a positive light throughout the world. The documentary will be submitted to the Sundance Film Festival and among other festivals, and will be played overseas into approximately 100 million households. The more exciting news for us is that we have a documentary that we can use for promotion of our beloved Arabian that cost us nothing. The legal rules and regulations are still being worked out, and I need to get the version with the English subtitles. So if you want to know my name in Arabic, it's on here. but I'm really proud to show this to you soon. It was a pleasure to meet and work with our new friends, Amir and Aman, and I would like to thank Eddie Ralston's Arabians for their hospitality. Filming took the better part of 2 days, with one being spent at the Ralston barn. I would also like to thank the Ralston barn for my 2 new cats, T and Lou. You really didn't think the cat lady could get through the speech without talking about her cats. Seriously. So honestly, I hope you enjoy this documentary, and they're going to start it now, I believe.
There's nothing like an Arabian horse. They're the most charming, the most beautiful. The eyes, they get into your soul, and they can see your soul.
They're a very hardy horse. They're a very agile horse.
Their intelligence, their beauty, their refinement. Arabian horses are so smart.
The Arabian horse is the only purebred breed in the world. Every horse that is in existence comes from an Arabian horse.
The industry of breeding Arabian horses in America actually started in 1893 with the Chicago World's Fair, when 45 horses were imported and remained in the United States. From there, the Arabian horse industry started to boom in the United States and North America, and starting in 1960 is when the great expansion all over North America occurred.
I witnessed an Arabian horse change a person's life in a moment. He was a war veteran that came back from the war in Iraq. He had been wounded and he suffered from PTSD. And we gave him the halter and a lead rope and asked him to lead this horse around. And for whatever reason, I watched that horse change that person, and that horse changed for him. So that was significant to me.
The Youth Nationals was started in 1992. We had such an active group. We still do have an active group of youth participants that we felt it was important to put a contest and a national event at a time where they could attend. It's important to our breed because it's the future of our breed. Youth participation is our future, and the next generation is, without it, horses will be gone.
The Arabian horse, of all other individuals, and I've been around a lot of different horses, offers so many different things to children. Safety, companionship, confidence. All of those things we feel like as an industry are important to all of us. And those are the same values that we want to try to instill in our children.
We have great horses, but we have great owners too. And that, for me, not having grown up with Arabian horses, has meant so much to me.
The most important thing that horse has done for me is compassion for another animal and for people.
I can't get away from them, and I can't be far from them for very long because of the personality and the love that they have for us. And they're just my life.
Now I was given an assignment after that. Thank you, everyone. The 2019 convention of the Arabian Horse Association will now come to